All right, everybody, welcome back to the Golf Podcast USA Network. I've got Bob Labbe here. He's a Georgia Tech engineer, class of 68, spent his career in pollution control, and then spent roughly 25 years, Bob, developing
Yeah,
this putting system. It's called Putting by the Numbers, a quantitative method to lag putting. So, Bob, why don't you tell us how this even began? How does an engineer end up obsessed with putting?
that's a real good question, Brett. And I suppose that I would have never thought in my lifetime I would have written any book about putting or anything about golf. But after I sold my second air pollution control company back in 1996, my partner and I agreed upon the fact that once we concluded our two previous businesses, that we both love the game of golf and that we would join a country club and play golf together. And so we did. And so I went to Maggie Valley, North Carolina, and um, took 3 or 4 days of PGA professional golf lessons. And they did a really good job of teaching you about all 14 clubs of the bag, including the putter. And so, in order to get good at the game of golf in 1996, John Halligan and I, my partner, we went out and we played 18 holes 3 days a week, and we practiced 3 days a week. And by doing that, we became very good at the game pretty quickly. Um, the only problem I had was having the ability to judge long distance putts accurately. And I was 3 and 4 putting a lot of greens, which was killing my score.
Yes.
And so that's the reason this quantitative method of lag putting came about. It was it was just a solution to a problem, and necessity is the mother of invention. And so it was a necessary thing that I do. And so I relied upon my engineering background and my engineering know-how to come up with a system that really works. And truly, this quantitative method of lag putting really does work. And I developed it from 1996 and had it pretty well perfected in 3 or 4 years. But the problem is, you can't put something in writing unless you're absolutely sure that it's true, it's real, and it really works. So I spent my time going around the country playing different golf courses, going to Ireland and Scotland and going to various countries around the world and playing golf. And I had proved to myself during the course of those 25 years before I wrote the book that this method of quantitative putting will help any golfer at any skill level to putt pretty good from long distances with a level of accuracy and confidence that you don't get from just playing golf once a week or once every 2 weeks or something like that.
Right.
And so the reason I wrote the book was I really want everybody in the world, whether you're a recreational golfer, an amateur golfer, a professional golfer, I want you to know about this method because it is accurate, it's repeatable, it's linear, and it really works. And it will definitely help your golf score.
Yeah.
So that's the whole purpose.
Cool. Well, I mean, obviously, most of the strokes are around the green. Putting's a big part of it, especially the lag putting. What led you to, most golfers are just guessing at it.
Right. Well, that's what I was trying to do because I got pretty good with the 13 of the 14 clubs in the bag pretty quick
Yeah.
because I practiced a lot. But the one problem I was having when I was a few feet off the green or on the green, normally recreational and amateur golfers are not skill leveled enough to get close to the pin on their approach shot in. So most recreational amateur golfers are quite a ways away from the pin, requiring a long distance putt or a putt off the green. And that is, if you're a feely, touchy, athletic guy who plays the game of golf every day like the touring pros do, then hey, you probably don't need my method. But I would tell you, put it in your golf bag anyway. It's a good tool for your toolbox. And the reason I say that is that I have proven on my method because Edward Stimpson, he developed the Stimp meter back in 1935 at Oakmont at the U.S. Open.
Right.
And the Stimp meter is a measure of green speed, and they use it pretty much around the world in all pro tournaments, including the PGA. And it gives you a relative speed of the green on any given green for any tournament. And the pros, the pros on tour normally play on greens that are 11, 12, or 13 green speed. Us amateurs, recreational golfers, our clubs are set up mostly for 10 or 11 green speeds. But the problem with that system, it's qualitative. It only tells you it's a number, but it doesn't tell you how far your ball is going to travel for the amount of force you apply to the ball. And that was my challenge. My challenge was to say, how do I quantify if I put a certain force on a ball, can I quantify how far it will travel on a given frictional surface? That was the thesis that I had to solve the problem, and I did, and it really works. And gosh, I'm hoping that we through the years here will set up training centers, academies to teach this quantitative method of putting through the years, and it'll be a lot of fun for a lot of young golfers coming into the game.
There's a lot of golfers coming in the game right now. I think post COVID, golf has grown more than it's ever grown. And what makes your system unique is that you give each golfer their own power factor.
Correct.
Explain that a little bit.
Well, the method I've developed is a biomechanical method of putting. Okay. And the commonality of everybody that puts a golf ball, and I don't mess with the way you hold the club or how you manage the putter. That's not my business. My business is to tell you, okay, for whatever way you hold or stroke the ball, everybody rocks their shoulders when they putt. Every human being on the planet. You can't go without doing it because when you're swinging that putter back and forth, your shoulders rock. And when I coined the terminology individual power factor. So when I swing my putter back and forth, my individual power factor for each inch that I retract the ball putter from the ball and then stroke through the ball is different than, for instance, my wife. On our home course, my individual power factor during the summer for our course is 20 feet of travel for 1 inch of retraction. My wife, having a different individual power factor, is 11 feet of travel for 1 inch of retraction. So that identifies a very important variable that has to be defined in order to use this method effectively. And that's part of the training process.
So, to the people that swear that putting is feel, what do you say to them?
Well, I think if you play golf several days a week and you're naturally athletic person with good hand-eye coordination, you probably don't need this quantitative method in your bag. But I can assure you, if you have it in your bag, you're going to be a better putter overall because, see, when I go to the golf green on any course, be it Pebble Beach or the old course in Scotland or my home course, I know the frictional resistance of the greens and the fringe and the fairway and the first cut rough are going to be different. And see, I can go to each and play those courses and play it as if it was my home course because I've got a quantitative method and plan to attack those greens properly. A person that's an athletic, feely, touchy guy who plays golf a lot, he's using this feely, touchy sense. And you can imagine. Let's give an emotional situation. Let's say I'm on the 17th green. I'm leading the tournament by 2 strokes, and I double bogey the 17th hole. Okay,
Trouble.
can you imagine how upset you are? at
Trouble.
that point. And so here you're going down to the tee box on 18 and you're going to stroke the ball. And fortunately, you hit a great drive and you're in the fairway, but you're still upset from what just happened on 17. So now you got to go to the green after you get your approach shot or you close the green and you got to execute a long putt. Now, would you rather have a feely, touchy, qualitative method, or would you rather have a quantitative method
Right.
of being able to know how to stroke that ball to get it within a few feet of the hole so you can make your two putt?
It's like your own personal SOP, right?
Exactly. You got it.
So, why don't you walk us through like if I'm putting, what's a live demo you can walk us through?
Okay. I have in my book, Putty by the Numbers, I have two tutorials. One is a home video, which I do in my basement, and I practice putting in my basement in the winter on my indoor outdoor carpet, and it works pretty nice. It keeps, if you keep your putting in good shape in the off season, when you come out in the spring to play golf, you keep your scores down so you don't affect your handicap much. So
100%.
I so I try to keep my putting in good shape during the winter. And I do that by practicing the basement. So that's what my home video is about. My on course video is about I'm putting on the green of the golf course at the Legends in Eureka, Missouri, where I was a member. And I'm showing you for the different frictional resistance of the green, the fringe, the fairway, and the first cut of rough, and giving you examples. For instance, if I'm 3 foot off the green, I I'll give you an example. My home course for me, my individual power factor for the green during the summer is normally 20 feet of travel per inch of retraction. The fringe is 7 feet of travel per inch of retraction. The fairway is 7 feet per inch of retraction. And usually the first cut of rough, depending on how they cut the rough, is usually 2.5 feet of travel per inch of retraction. So an example being, let's say I was I was 2.5 feet into the first gutter rough, and I was 7 feet of fringe, and then I was 20 feet away from the cup. Well, you can see there's 1 inch for the 2.5 of retraction in the first cut. And then you got 1 inch for the 7 foot of fringe, and then you got 1 inch for the 20 feet of green. So I would retract my putter 3 inches and stroke through the ball. Now it's very important in order to work any kind of method. You must execute. Everybody has to execute. So even though you may have the method, you still have to execute. And so I have to stroke that ball with a 3 inch retraction through the ball and deliver it to the hole. And if I do that, I have a very good chance of making that putt or getting so close that a two putt is a gimme.
Beautiful. I mean, I would put this up there as a must buy, for any new golfer. Is there any place, someone can go out, buy the book, put this in their bag, always have it, read it between holes?
Absolutely. As a matter of fact, we're selling it on Amazon, and I may for the month of August, I have made a special deal with Amazon to put my book on sale on the ebook only for 99 cents. And here's the deal. Here's the special deal I'm offering everybody. If you buy my ebook, read my ebook, and if you like it and want to give me a good review, put your review in on Amazon, because you go to amazon.com, look for Putting by the Numbers, buy the ebook for 99 cents. You have to read the book, then you have to evaluate whether you like it or not. Then you put a review for me on the ebook, and then send me your mailing address, okay, to my address that's on the book, and I will send you a soft copy of the book with a handwritten note and my signature for your library.
That's beautiful. I'm going to do that as soon as we hang up here.
Okay.
I think that is a great price. I think that's a great strategy too. I like it.
Yeah. Well, see, we had the book available in ebook, soft cover, hardcover, and audiobook. And Steve Salgi, who's a actor narrator out in Los Angeles, He did the narration for me, and has a great voice. So a lot of people, young people particularly, that go to listen to my book going to work and stuck in traffic, and it's a good book to listen to when you're in traffic and you got this guy talking to you about golf. And if you're a golfer, you love to talk about golf. Okay,
Yeah, yeah.
so
That's the whole reason we started this.
it's a great edition of the book. I listen to it myself.
That's great. Yeah, it keeps it fresh in your head. You
Yeah.
know. Any final thoughts? Any message you want to say to maybe the younger generation of golfers coming up? You know, that may not, you know, that 14 handicapper that doesn't know your book. Like, any final thoughts there?
Well, I would say that, if you want to become a good recreational or amateur golfer, uh, and even aspire to being a professional, whether it's a club level or a touring level, the game of golf is all about repetition, practice, practice, practice. So if you're going to learn how to play the game of golf, you got to commit to at least playing it once a week, and if you have time, twice a week. And I was lucky in retirement, I play golf. I'm 82 years old now, and I've been playing golf for 30 years, and I still play golf twice a week.
Nice.
Okay,
That's a lot of golf.
and so my putting is last year I putted 30.5 putts per 18 hole round. And the pros on the tour, they aspire to 28 putts per round. Now, I'm not a great golfer. I got a 7 handicap. And so I'm not a great golfer, but I'm a pretty good golfer. Okay.
Yeah.
But one thing I am an excellent putter.
I bet.
Okay.
I bet.
I would tell the young people coming up, remember there's 72 strokes in an 18 hole course normally. And half of those strokes, if you two putt every green, is 36 putts. So putting is a big 50% of the game if you putt in regulation. So, but do you know anybody that practice putting 50% of the time? And the answer to that question is no. But that's how important putting is to the game. And lag putting is really important to the game. What's cool about my method is that if you use my method and you get that ball within 3 to 5 feet of the hole every time you putt, then all you got to do is practice your short putts 3 to 5 foot, and become so good at those putting. I don't miss a 3 to 5 foot very often. I'd say I'm about 99 percentile on those. Okay. So that's the key to this. This gives you a methodology to make long putts. It gets you in where you can make short putts, and all you got to do is practice those 3 to 5 putts around the hole, and you'll be an outstanding putter.
Bob, thank you so much for coming on. Everybody, thanks for tuning in. This is Brett Smith. If you want to check out the full golf podcast catalog, you can go to golfpodcast.org or just simply Google your state and the words golf podcast to find your local show. Thanks again, Bob. And always remember, tip your cart staff.
Thanks, Brett. Thanks for having me.